Phillies still lead the Central, and the addition of Will the Thrill has this team thinking postseason. Tony La Russa knows about winning, but he also knows without his big gun, his team needs to step it up to keep the Cards rolling. Tonight, Scott Rowland and the Phillies say, meet me in St. Louis. It's the Cards and the Phils next on FX Baseball Saturday night. FX welcomes you to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where it has been raining for over an hour as we get set for the second of a three-game weekend series between the first-place St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies. Cardinals won last night in come-from-behind fashion, 7-6. They lead the NL Central by 7 games over the Reds, who broke a 4-game losing streak earlier today with a 7-1 victory over the Pirates. Cardinals with the 7-game division lead despite the absence of Mark McGwire for the last 6 weeks. He went on the DL back on July 7th. Cardinals 3 games under 500 in his absence. We welcome you to FX Baseball Saturday night. Kenny Albert along with Ken Brett. How big would the Cardinals lead be with Mark McGwire?
I think it would probably be a little bigger. Their home runs are down, their runs per game are a little down, and anytime you lose your big guy, I think your team suffers. I think the guys in the lineup on a regular basis, even though they continue to swing the bats pretty well, I think their numbers are down, and I think anytime you get a Mark McGwire back in the lineup, everybody relaxes, everybody feels a little less pressure on themselves. I think they'll be a little better if and when he gets back.
And we spoke about Mark McGwire's progress with Cardinal skipper Tony La Russa.
The reality is he's got a very sore knee, and he's done everything. He's rested, they've treated it, they've tried different exercises for it, and we're hopeful that there'll be a breakthrough sooner or later. In the meantime, you just got to hang with it, and we have to hang with it.
The fans in Big Mac Land and all over Busch Stadium hope that McGwire returns to the Cardinals lineup in the near future. Cardinals and Phillies coming up. Finally taking the field. This game's scheduled to start at 7:05 here in St. Louis. It is now 8:29. For the Phillies, who have lost 5 in a row, center fielder Doug Glanville leads off, followed by right fielder Bobby Abreu. Third baseman Scott Rowland bats third. Mike Lieberthal, the catcher in the cleanup spot. Travis Lee, the ex-Diamondback, will bat fifth. Pat Burrell, the left fielder, in the number 6 slot. And the bottom of the order, second baseman Marlon Anderson, shortstop Tomas Perez, and pitcher Omar Dahl, as the Phillies get set to face 31-year-old right-hander Pat Hentgen with a record of 11-9 in his first season in St. Louis.
And his ERA is 5.10. The reason we bring up 98 and 99, his ERA has been high in both those past seasons. He needs to keep the ball down more in the strike zone, and he can still get people out with the higher fastball. He needs to get ahead and stay down in the strike zone.
Hentgen 8 seasons in Toronto, coming off a victory over the Brewers on Sunday. We take you around the horn. Craig Paquette playing first base tonight. Will Clark has the night off. Fernando Vina over at second. Another Fernando Tatis is the Cardinals' third baseman. And the shortstop is Edgar Renteria. Sean Dunston in left. J.D. Drew, the former Phillies draft pick, in center. And the right fielder is Eric Davis. Mike Matheny behind the plate. So the battery of Hentgen and Matheny, they were teammates in Toronto last year. Hentgen 2-0 and 3 lifetime starts against the Phillies. 11-12 last year, 11-9 this season. As we mentioned, Hentgen, the 1996 Cy Young Award winner, when he won a career-high 20 games for the Blue Jays. So we are just about set. Doug Glanville steps in. Glanville, the Phillies center fielder, working on a 6-game hitting streak. He's 10 for his last 24. As we get started at 8:31 p.m. in St. Louis, a called strike by the home plate umpire Paul Emmel. The curve is in there for strike 2.
You know, the interesting thing about Pat Hentgen, he's only given up 2 more hits than innings pitched, and usually guys that are pretty much even with hits and innings pitched have an ERA a lot better than 5.
Hentgen strikes out Glanville on 3 pitches to start the game.
Throws him a fastball. He takes a curveball for strike 2. And I tell you what, Glanta is one of those guys. Is a pretty tough hitter. Gets a lot of hits. And he had a bad swing right there. I mean, his backside is going toward third. And watch him just wave at this ball. Fooled completely by it. But one of the things that Henkin has done this year, Henkin has walked a lot. He's averaging 4.5 walks per game. And when you add that up to those hits, it becomes a little more of a sticky situation as far as a pitcher is concerned.
Here's the right fielder, Bobby Abreu. And the curve is in for strike 1. 4 pitches from Henkin, 4 strikes.
Maybe he wasn't ready at 7:30. He's an 8:30 guy.
Obviously, the rain delay did not affect Pat Henkin.
Well, he warmed up once, had to wait for about 30-40 minutes, but I don't think he was warming up real hard early in the ball game, thinking it might rain again. Because those people, I think, on the field get better results than perhaps we do up here in the broadcast booth. Although they do say there's more rain coming this way.
No ball, 2 strike count. Bobby Abreu batting .312. He's driven in 62 runs. 6 pitches from Henkin, 6 strikes as Abreu fouls it back. Phillies have lost 5 in a row, which matches their longest losing streak of the year. They've dropped 7 of their last 8. The 0-2. Henkin just misses inside for ball 1.
Phillies, I think, were a team at the start of the season that expected to do some things a lot differently than the way things turned out this year. It's been a tough year for the Phillies. You know, they had pitching problems from day 1, lost their closer from day 1. And they weren't hitting the ball like they expected to. And, you know, Terry Francona's had a tough time this year.
Francona in his 4th season as Phillies manager. The count is now full. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Bobby Abreu with 1 out. Top of the 1st inning from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Cardinals have won 6 of 7 from the Phillies this year, including a 5-1 record at the vet. Line drive, base hit, left center field, just out of the reach of the shortstop, Edgar Renteria. A 1-out single for Bobby Abreu. The Phillies with only 11 players remaining from their opening day roster. On the left, the new Phils. On the right, those who have moved on. You might notice Rob Ducey on both lists. He was sent to the Blue Jays. 12 days later, returned in a deal for Mickey Morandini.
Yeah, that's an interesting deal right there. I mean, they must like him in Philadelphia. He's bounced around a little bit in his career, has the old left-hander Rob Ducey.
The only problem was he got rid of his apartment and he sent his car home. Returned less than 2 weeks later. So with 1 out, Abreu on first. Here's Scott Rowland. Rowland 6 for 10 lifetime against Henkin as he fouls off the first pitch, strike 1. Rowland, the National League Rookie of the Year back in '97. 0 for 3 in last night's game. Phillies led 6-0. Cardinals came back to win in the bottom of the 9th. 7-6. There goes Abreu, off-speed pitch, strike 2. The throw down to second, not in time, and Bobby Abreu has stolen his 16th base.
I tell you what, he got a heck of a jump here on Henkin. Henkin was a little slow to the plate right there. He lifts that right leg up real high and just gives the runner a little more time. Has a good lead. Catcher in this club does a pretty good job of throwing people out, but he had no chance right there to get him. 52% coming in. Usually in Major League Baseball, if you're over 40-45%, you are considered a very good catcher at throwing out base stealers.
Matheny has been one of the best in the majors this year.
But getting back to last night's ball game, I watched a little bit of last night's ball game on television. Person was starting for Philadelphia, and it was one of his typical performances. He had given, I think he had pitched 6 innings. He had walked 6, which is a first mistake because you're throwing more pitches, but only given up a couple of hits and 1 run. Then they turn it over to the bullpen. The bullpen has been a big problem for Philadelphia all year. The bullpen walk after walk after walk, a couple of base hits. St. Louis wins it. tough ball game to lose.
Now 1-2 on Scott Rowland. 12 walks issued by the Phillies pitching staff in last night's game.
They say that most people in baseball say that the toughest thing for a team to come back from is a bullpen that consistently cannot win ball games for you after the 6th or the 7th inning. Tough to bounce back from that. The Phillies have had that problem all season long.
In the dirt, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Scott Rowland with Mike Lieberthal waiting on deck. Bobby Abreu, the runner, on second. He singled and then stole second. There's Lieberthal. Top of the 1st inning from St. Louis, in case you joined us late. A rain delay of 1 hour 21 minutes prior to the start of tonight's game. Rowland, fly ball left field. Dunston moving to his left. Makes the catch for the second out. So with 2 away, here's catcher Mike Lieberthal, who has suffered a couple of injuries in recent weeks. He spent some time on the DL with a sprained left ankle, has had some back problems, but is in the starting lineup tonight. Lieberthal batting .300, only 14 home runs. He set a club record for catchers with 31 last year. Comes to the plate with 2 outs, runner on second, and takes ball 1.
And Lieberthal is one of those kinds of players that, you know, for a catcher, which is a position that, at least in my opinion, it takes a lot of wear and tear on a player. He's not a real big catcher. And he comes into the ball game at, 6 foot, 190 pounds, and I bet you he doesn't weigh 190 right now, but he plays like a much bigger guy. He plays a lot like a Jason Kendall. Another example of a guy who's not real big, but is an outstanding catcher. And this guy was the Gold Glove winner in the National League last year. This guy can flat out catch the ball.
2-0 on Lieberthal. Abreu with his leadoff second. Ball 3, says first base umpire Rich Rieker. So Hinkin has fallen behind 3-0.
Well, the question is, does the bat cover the plate? I don't think it quite did. I always thought in a situation like that, even though I was a pitcher, I think a guy's got to go all the way around before the umpire calls it. If the guy takes his bat off his shoulder, the catcher's saying, ask him, ask him. He throws him a 2-0 curveball. You don't think he's going to give me anything good to hit right here, even though the on-deck hitter is a left-hander, Travis Lee. But Travis Lee not swinging the bat, I don't think, quite as well as Lieberthal is. And you've got an open base at first base, and there are 2 outs. So a 2-0 curveball leads me to believe he doesn't want to pitch to him a whole lot right now.
Dave Duncan, Cardinals pitching coach, as the rain continues to fall here in St. Louis. The 3-0 to Lieberthal. A called strike, 3-1.
Pretty good pitch right there. Not the kind of a pitch a hitter's going to be looking for. 3-0 pitch that the hitter's going to look for, something he can drive somewhere. That's a pretty good 3-0 offering.
Now the 3-1. Hinkin missing outside. Lieberthal walks. So the Phillies have runners on first and second with 2 away.
I think when you talk about that big trade that Arizona made to get Curt Schilling, I think this is obviously one of the key players. A lot of people thought that Padilla was one of the key players, and some people thought that Omar Dahl was one of the key players. This is the guy that got a $10 million signing bonus from Arizona. Obviously, this guy's got some talent.
The curve is in for strike 1. Travis Lee batting .241. Mark McGwire in uniform in the Cardinals dugout. September 1st, a possible return date for Mark McGwire from the disabled list. He has been out since July 7th.
It's almost like 50 days, isn't it? And they don't know for sure whether that's the date right now. And I mean, I would think if he doesn't come back in September, you know, try to get him back to the playoffs if they're still in first place. But it seems to me that he's going to need some surgery.
Base hit left center. Coming around third is Abreu. He scores the first run of the game. Lieberthal stops at third. RBI single for Travis Lee, his 48th run batted in, and the Phillies take a 1-0 lead.
As we talk, Travis Lee has got a lot of talent right here. Look at him just go with this pitch, stays inside the ball all the way. And the second time that the shortstop has come within about a foot of making the second or the third out in this inning. Abreu's line drive was almost catchable by the shortstop Renteria, and this one was almost in the same spot. You got to be a little taller, doesn't he? And look at the rain coming down again.
1-0 Phillies. Pat Burrell takes ball one from Pat Henkin.
Now let's watch Renteria right here in action. Probably 6-8 inches away from catching that ball. What do they say? It's a game of inches.
For those of you who were watching the White Sox and the Devil Rays during the rain delay, Sox a 7-0 victory over Tampa Bay. Three-hitter for Mike Soroka. Frank Thomas hit his 38th home run of the year. So the Indians, who also won today, remain 9 games behind the White Sox in the AL Central.
More importantly, Cleveland 1 game out of the wild card.
Yes. Henkin again fires to first.
I don't know why he's doing that. He ain't fooling anybody. He didn't fool anybody the first time. He didn't fool anybody the second time. But every once in a while on TV, you'll see somebody get fooled, and I think it's probably, for a runner, a very embarrassing situation.
Two and one on Pat Burrell, the Phillies left fielder, who leads all National League rookies in home runs with 13, RBIs with 54. And he was not even called up by the Phils until late May.
Yeah, here's another guy that you could talk about as a potential Rookie of the Year type of player. I mean, this guy's got a lot of talent. And he's driven in a lot of runs. I mean, 54 RBIs. If he'd have been with this club in April, he'd probably be the club leader right now in that department.
He's played only 72 games. Takes ball 3. 3-1 on Burrell. Mark Quinn of the Royals has 18 home runs to lead all Major League rookies. Burrell, Russell Branyan, and Terrence Long with 13 apiece. First and third, 2 outs. 1 run in on 2 hits. And a 3-1 count to Pat Burrell. Another big crowd on hand here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The 3-1. Popped foul. Back behind home plate. So the count is full. Burrell making his 10th start in left field. He had been playing first base, but following the acquisition of Travis Lee, Burrell was moved back out to left.
Yeah, I don't think the Phillies ever wanted to bring him up this year, but I think they felt obligated to bring him up when Brony went on the disabled list. And then when they got Lee, he has a new home. That new home is left field.
Ball 4, second walk issued by Henkin, and the bases are loaded.
That last pitch, curveball, misses high, no doubt about it. A lot of guys like to swing at that hanging curveball like that.
So the base is full of Phillies. Look of concern on the face of pitching coach Dave Duncan as Marlon Anderson steps in. The Phillies' second baseman, batting .263. He's played only 9 games after his recall from Scranton. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Anderson fouls it into the Cardinals dugout. 1-1.
Well, Hankins started off the ball game throwing nothing but strikes. But he has thrown a lot of pitches in this inning. He's walked 2 already. We talked about the number of base on balls he had given up, 4.5 per game. He's walked 2 already in the first and fallen behind some people.
His first 6 pitches this inning were strikes. Anderson pops it up. And the catch is made by the shortstop, Renteria. So the Phillies leave the bases loaded. 1 run on 2 hits, 2 walks. One nothing Phillies as the rain continues to fall here in St. Louis. Cardinals 67 and 54. They've won 3 in a row, 5 of their last 6. Fernando Vina leads off, followed by Edgar Renteria. Sean Dunston bats 3rd. Then Fernando Tatis. Eric Davis batting .432 against left-handers. Will bat 5th. Then first baseman Craig Paquette. Bottom of the order, Mike Matheny, J.D. Drew, and Pat Hinkin against 28-year-old left-hander Omar Dahl, who won 16 games last year for the Diamondbacks. This season he is 3-13.
And look at his numbers: 98, 99 Arizona, 378 innings, 334 hits. Those are an outstanding number right there. But look at this season: 117 innings, 155 hits. Fastball is way down. He used to have a lot of success throwing that fastball in and getting you with the off-stuff pitch, the off-speed stuff away. Hasn't been as successful this year.
Dahl was 2-10 with the Diamondbacks. He spent some time in the bullpen, made 4 relief appearances for Arizona before the trade to the Phillies. He's 1-3 in 4 starts with Philadelphia. In his last start Sunday against the Astros, Houston pounded Dahl for 5 runs in the first inning, and the Astros went on to a 14-7 victory. Dahl allowed 9 runs, 8 earned in just 4 innings. Fernando Vina leading off for the Cardinals. He's 0 for 6 lifetime against Dahl. Line drive off the glove of Rolen for an infield hit.
Now the interesting thing about this play is Rolen's playing in on the grass, take the bunt away from him. And you can see how quick he is at third base, but the ball pops out of his glove. Philadelphia people say this could be the best third baseman defensively that they've ever had. He's not a bad offensive player either. But when you compare him to somebody like a Mike Schmidt, who is also a great defensive ball player, they say this guy's a little better. You got to be quick on a line drive like that defensively.
Edgar Renteria. Did it stay fair? No. Foul ball. So Vina will head back to first. Fernando Vina with that infield hit extended his hitting streak to 11 games.
You know, it surprises me that Travis Lee didn't let that ball bounce a little more. That ball was right on the line, and as soon as it went foul, he picked it up. The runner's in front of you. See if the ball, the way it's spinning, comes back into fair territory and pick yourself up and out.
The 0-1 to Renteria. High and inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now watch Travis Lee at first base. This ball is right on the line here, folks. Let it. I'm telling you what. You wait 5 or 10 feet, that ball gets back into fair territory, you got yourself an out. Now if the guy's running down the first baseline, take it in foul territory, unless he's in front of you.
Unless Lee thought that it was still in fair territory when he picked it up.
He possibly did. But he's right on top of it.
The 2-1 to Renteria. And Dahl misses inside. 3 balls, 1 strike.
One of the things I think that Philadelphia would like Omar Dahl to do not play winter ball this year. He has thrown a lot of innings the last couple of years. He probably needs to take some time off, give himself some rest, get that fastball back up as far as fastball miles per hour.
He set a career high last year with over 200 innings pitched for Arizona. He went 16-9. His ERA was 10th in the National League at 3.65. This year, just about double at 7.15.
Well, last year, 10th in the National League in ERA means one thing: the kid knows how to pitch. The question is, can he pitch by being a different kind of pitcher?
Ball 4, so the Cardinals have runners on first and second with nobody out in the bottom of the first inning as Dahl walks Renteria. In the field for the Phillies, Travis Lee. There he is, Travis, the first baseman. Marlon Anderson over at second. Scott Rowland won a Gold Glove 2 years ago at third. Tomas Perez is the shortstop. Pat Pearl out in left field. Doug Glanville in center. And Bobby Abreu in right. Mike Lieberthal behind the plate. So the battery of Dahl and Lieberthal working together for the 5th game. Dahl's 5th start as a Philly, facing Sean Dunston, the number 3 hitter tonight for the Cardinals. Dunston in his 16th Major League season has been used in many roles with the Cardinals this year. Terrific numbers lifetime against Dahl. 5 for 8 with a home run. First and second, nobody out. Dunston with a drive, deep center, Glanville back, and it's off the wall. Vina scores. Here comes Renteria. The throw to the plate is cut off. And the Cardinals have taken a 2-1 lead, a 2-run double off the bat of Sean Dunston. His 38th and 39th runs batted in.
Well, Tony La Russa, if we know in the broadcast booth that Dunston's hitting .625 lifetime off Dahl, Tony La Russa knows the same information. That's why he's batting third. That's why he's playing tonight. And this ball is just ripped straight over the center fielder's head. Now, Glanville's a good center fielder. He cannot run this ball down. And by the time he does, it's off the wall. A double, 2 runs have scored.
Dunston's 8th double. Still nobody out. Here's the cleanup hitter, Fernando Tatis. In the dirt, ball 1. So Omar Dahl, who in his last start on Sunday allowed 5 first-inning runs, he threw 31 pitches, has not yet retired a Cardinal. Vina with the infield hit off the glove of Rowland. Dahl then walked Renteria. Dunston drove them both in with a double off the center field wall. Strike called, 1-1 on Tatis.
Now, one of the things about Dahl, if you look at his numbers more closely, this year he's pitched 117 innings, not counting what he's done tonight in the ballgame. He's given up a total in walks and hits of 205. Add his walks, add his hits, 117 innings, 205 base runners he has had on base, which equals about 15 3/4 per game. He is always, I mean always, in trouble on the mound because he's pitching in trouble. Too many hits, too many walks. He's got to get back to the pitcher he used to be. He's got to throw that fastball and get the velocity back on the fastball.
Tatis fouls this one off back behind first base. 1-2.
I mean, look at the hits and look at the walks. You add them up, you get 205, and that's just, you're in trouble too much, and it's hard to pitch out of trouble when you're always in trouble. He hasn't had many 1, 2, 3 innings this year.
And those numbers lead to a record of 3-13.
And an ERA coming into the game tonight, which has gone up, of 7.15.
Another foul off the bat of Tatis.
This is not the same pitcher that last year won 16 games and was 10th in the National League in ERA. It is just not the same guy.
Opponents hitting .316 off Omar Dahl this year.
Anytime they're hitting over 300 on you, and there's the pitching coach, Galen Cisco. Galen had told him, do not play winter ball this year. You need to rest.
Tatis called out on strikes.
Now, this is one of the things that he used to do on a regular basis when he was with Arizona. He would work that fastball in and in and in. Now, watch what Tatis does when he gets his fastball in. He doesn't want anything to do with that pitch, and it's over the plate at strike 3. And if he can consistently do that as a starting pitcher and then throw his off-speed stuff and keep that away from the hitters, he's going to get back to the way he was, but he needs the velocity back.
So with one away, here's right fielder Eric Davis. Davis batting .313. Dunston, the runner on second, 1 out. Davis base hit it to left field. Dunston rounding third, heading home, 3-1 Cardinals. RBI number 37 for Davis. On the first pitch he saw from Omar Dahl.
You know, Eric Davis has been around forever. This is his 15th year in the big leagues. Against left-handed pitching this year, he's batting .432, which is why he is in the lineup tonight. And there's a big hole on the left side, and he just slaps this curveball, just reaches out, drives it into the left field area.
Third Cardinals hit of the inning as Craig Paquette steps in. Paquette playing first base tonight. Will Clark has the night off, as do Jim Edmonds and Ray Langford. So Tony La Russa resting 3 of his regulars. Paquette only 2 for his last 13. Well hit left field. Burrow back on the warning track, makes the catch as Davis retreats back to first. So Paquette flies out to the warning track for the second out. Our LendingTree.com key matchup with the Cardinals facing a left-hander, Omar Dahl. St. Louis only 11-20 this year against left-handed starters. They are 22 games over 500 against righties.
And so many teams have trouble with good left-handed pitchers. Now, Dahl is not a strong left-handed pitcher this year, and obviously you can see the results early in the ballgame.
So the Cardinals, who scored 7 runs in the last 4 innings of last night's game, have 3 here in the first. After the Phillies left the bases loaded in the top of the inning. Mike Matheny, the Cardinals catcher, with a modest 5-game hitting streak. 9 for his last 20. (0-2) with Eli Marrero on the DL. Matheny splitting the catching duties with Carlos Hernandez, whom the Cardinals acquired at the trade deadline from the Padres.
Yeah, one of the things the Cardinals were not afraid to do at that trading deadline was go out and get some players. And they got some players. And they got some players that have helped them.
Mike Timlin from Baltimore.
They got Jason Christensen. They needed a left-hander in the bullpen all year. They got a veteran left-hander.
Christensen, Timlin, Will Clark, Carlos Hernandez.
Hernandez, the catcher, good guy to have on your club. They've done a good job of, reinforcing their lineup. And yeah, I think one of the questions that the Cardinals are going to have to answer, if and when, and I think it's almost a question now. He's missed so many games. If Mark McGwire comes back, what do you do with Will Clark, who's done a good job here?
Dahl strikes out Matheny. So the first inning finally comes to an end after 31 minutes. Dunston scored the Cardinals' 3rd run. 3-1 St. Louis. I think it's past his bedtime. 9:05 here in St. Louis. We've played 1 inning. Well, we mentioned in our open about 2 hours ago, Todd Helton of the Rockies, who started the day batting .399, now all the way down to .397. He's 0 for 2.
He's in a tremendous slump right now, but he does have 2 RBIs.
That's pretty impressive. 0 for 2 with 2 runs batted in.
I guess he's hit some ground balls and gotten some outs, huh?
And a sacrifice fly. 3-2 Colorado in the 6th. Tomas Perez, the Phillies shortstop, leading off in the 2nd. Henkin threw 33 pitches in the 1st inning. Phillies left the bases loaded. Henkin's teammates scored 3 runs for him in the bottom of the inning. Now 3-0 on the switch hitting Perez, batting from the left side.
I think he's trying to get around Perez so he can see Dahl get up there to bunt, get that out, the sure out.
You know, Dahl's a good bunter. And he will have his opportunity to move the runner over as Perez walks on 4 pitches. 3rd walk issued by Henkin.
Walks have been one of the things that have hurt the right-hander this season.
We continue to check out scores from around the majors. Jeffrey Hammond's Todd Helton's teammate up to 364 for the Colorado Rockies. Diamondbacks looking for their 6th consecutive win tonight. Ball 1 to the pitcher, Omar Dahl. Dahl batting .219. He's 7 for 32. He does not strike out very often. He has 7 hits, only 6 strikeouts.
Now Dave Duncan's going to come out. Matheny has already gone to the mound to talk to Henkin about the fact that he's thrown 5 balls in a row.
As opposed to the 1st inning when he started with 6 consecutive strikes.
And now Dave Duncan kind of telling him what he's doing. He's moving that right shoulder as if to say, hey, you're closing your right shoulder too much. Open it up a little more. Point that right shoulder more toward the hitter. A lot of times when a guy's been in the big leagues for a long time and he's throwing the ball and missing in the same spot all the time, he kind of knows himself what he's doing wrong. It's one of those things that you learn over the long course of becoming a polished pitcher.
Perez the runner on first, nobody out here in the top of the 2nd inning. Phillies pitcher Omar Dahl at the plate with the Cardinals leading 3-1. Frank Thomas, home run number 38. He drove in 4 for the White Sox. Royals shut out the Orioles 7-0. Dahl's bunt fielded on 1 bounce. Henkin to second. So the Cardinals get the lead runner in Perez, who hesitated because he thought Henkin might catch the bunt before it bounced.
Now this is an interesting play right here. Now watch what happens. Let's freeze it right here. Watch what happens to this guy. Just watch what happens when the ball goes in the air. If he bunts it on the ground, he can go, but the ball's in the air. Now look at him. Stop it right there and look at where the runner is. The runner's stuck in no man's land. And then when the ball hits the ground, he's an easy out at second base. Nowhere in sight. Bunt the ball on the ground.
Glanville fouls the first pitch from Henkin into the stands behind first base. Glanville struck out on 3 pitches, leading off the game. Glanville's on-base percentage last year, .376. This year, only .306, which is the lowest among National League leadoff hitters. Glanville blips one, and it's a foul ball. Down the right field line, 0-2.
Yeah, Glanville's one of those kinds of players. Anytime he gets on base, he can be a real threat because he can run. He's a very good base stealer. And last year, if you look at what he did, he was 2nd in the National League in hits. And, you know, a lot of people, when you're playing on a team that doesn't do real well, they don't get, a lot of guys in that club don't get a lot of, you know, a lot of recognition. Rowland's an outstanding player. Glanville was outstanding last year. Abreu was a good player last year, but you know they don't get the press they should because they don't get any ink. And Terry Francona, the manager, not very happy about that. And of course this year there's reasons why this club hasn't done as well. Pitching is the main one, I believe.
The 0-2 in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Last year, Glanville 2nd to Luis Gonzalez in the National League with 204 hits. First Philly with 200 since Pete Rose 20 years earlier.
Yeah, this is a solid leadoff hitter, but he needs to get on base more. Good defensive player, good base stealer, good guy to have leading off.
Popped up in shallow center. The second baseman Vigna makes the play. Nearly stumbled in the wet grass. 2 away. Sunday, Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Baldwin star as two escaped convicts chained together and on the run. Fled, tomorrow night at 8 on FX. Major Movie Sunday. I wonder where they were fleeing to.
Fled. I think we're going to be fled here all night. The weather the way it is.
Flooding, fled,
yeah,
whatever. Bobby Abreu with 2 outs. Abreu takes ball 1 from Henkin.
Now let's look at the second baseman here, Vini. It's almost as if he loses his ball or something. Watch him at the very end here. Maybe there's a little water there. You know, it might be a little wet there, a little soft, because when they take the tarp off, the water all ends up behind second base. And there's another one of those leadoff hitters that's done a great job for the Cardinals.
The 1-1. Foul back. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Bobby Abreu, who singled and scored in the first inning.
46 pitches, and we're into the second inning right now. Pat, you better slow it down, or you're about a 5 or 6 inning guy tonight. 21 balls, 25 strikes. Like to have about twice as many strikes than balls. And don't forget, 6 of the first pitches you threw were what? Strikes.
The 1-2, grounded foul. 3-1 Cardinals. St. Louis won last night's game 7-6 after trailing 6-0. Phillies bullpen fell apart. They lost their major league leading 27th game.
That'll bruise the ego of any club. Bullpens that cannot hold leads.
Now 2-2. Robert Person, the Phillies starter last night, who's a St. Louis native, did not allow a run in 5 innings. He gave up only 2 hits, but he walked 6.
And by walking 6, forced himself out of the ball game due to the pitch count early on. And now if he hadn't walked 6, if he'd have walked 1 or 2, he'd have probably given himself another inning.
Abreu called out on strike. Second strikeout for Henkin. And the Phillies strand Omar Dahl. We move to the bottom of the second. St. Louis, Kenny Albert, Ken Brett. Our 7-11 trivia question. Who has the most career home runs in the majors without having won a home run title? Most career home runs without ever leading his league. And we will give you 1 hint. The answer to the 7-11 trivia is not in the top 9, not on that list.
I would think that everyone on this list has won it at least once. And since we're in St. Louis, I'm thinking it might be, I'm just going to go out on a limb, might be a Cardinal.
Isn't that usually how these trivia questions work?
Yeah, they usually give us a little bit of a hint here.
Sometimes they fool us.
It's not Pedro Guerrero.
No.
It's not Roger Maris.
Here's J.D. Drew.
It's not Orlando Cepeda.
So you've eliminated 3.
So far.
1-1 on J.D. Drew, who walked 4. That's right, he walked 4 times in last night's game.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Who, Drew?
No. The home run hitter.
That's a good question. Jim Pells in our truck coming up with the question.
It's not Jim Pells.
Bounce foul to the right side. 2-2 on J.D. Drew. Drafted 2nd overall by the Phillies in '97. Did not sign. Went back into the draft. Cardinals chose him with the 5th pick in '98. The 1st overall pick that year was Pat Burrell.
And when he didn't sign with the Phillies, he went to play in one of the independent leagues in St. Paul, Minneapolis, St. Paul. That's the St. Paul Saints, I believe the name of the team is.
Of the Northern League. Darryl Strawberry also spent some time there. Full count. Drew leading off the Cardinals second. And he takes strike 3. Third strikeout for Omar Dahl. 3 of the 4 outs have been K's. Well, we gave you a couple of minutes to think about it.
The old left-hander, isn't it?
He was a Cardinal. He hit 475 home runs, but he never led the National League.
Hard to believe the guy that hits that many, doesn't he? Yeah, he probably came close so many times. Couple away.
Number 6. Oh and 2 on the pitcher, Pat Henkin. Henkin 0 for his last 13. Batting .205 on the season. Strikeout number 4 for Omar Dahl, his 3rd in a row.
Omar Dahl, you know, he's a Latin pitcher. He's from Venezuela, and a lot of Venezuelans, you know, and Latin pitchers, they have unusual motions. And he turns almost all the way back to center field before he throws the ball, and it can be a little disruptive to a pitcher. And one of the guys, you know, we had showed him earlier on a list tonight, Luis Tiant, who was one of those guys since 1920 who had a phenomenal ERA. Tiant was that kind of a pitcher.
And Omar Dahl worked with Luis Tiant when he was in the Dodgers system. Fernando Vina got things started for the Cardinals in the first inning with an infield hit off the glove of third baseman Scott Rowland, extending his hitting streak to 11 games. 2 outs, bottom of the second inning. It was Vina's first career hit against Dahl. He had been 0 for 6.
And they're still playing him well inside the bag at third.
Inside. Vina has been hit by a league-leading 20 pitches this year.
It's almost as if he turned his back and tried to let that one hit him, but it just wasn't quite far enough inside. Getting hit 20 times, good for the on-base percentage.
Yes. Strike call, 2 and 2.
Yeah, he still has the good breaking stuff. Dahl still has good breaking stuff, but you know, some pitchers, when they lose their fastball a little bit, sometimes they get a little more hesitant to throw the ball inside off the plate.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Vina's on-base percentage, .386. Done a terrific job as the Cardinals leadoff hitter. Vina went to the All-Star game 2 years ago with Milwaukee. He was slowed down by injuries last year, but the Cardinals have been very happy with his production at the top of the order.
They've also been happy with the way he responds in the locker room and in the dugout. He's a leader.
Vina with his second hit of the game. A 2-out single to left. Off the bat of Fernando Vina.
And for the second time he goes to left field. It's almost as if he's just waiting for the pitch and he's just going to go the other way. Inside outs it right into left field. Of course, his job, put the ball in play.
So with 2 outs, runner on first, here's Edgar Renteria, who walked and scored in the first inning. Renteria, one of the heroes of the 1997 World Series for the Florida Marlins. He drove in the World Series winning hit against the Cleveland Indians back in October of '97. Craig Counsell scored the run. Renteria drove him home.
And I think that was the last time we ever heard of the Florida Marlins. And until this year. This year they're having a pretty good year. And all those young players that they got and all those trades that they made because they had to reduce the payroll are starting to come up and starting to prove themselves as legitimate big leaguers.
Renteria behind in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs. Fernando Vina, the runner on first. Vina goes, and they have him picked off. 1-3-6. And Vina is caught stealing for the 7th time this year. So Renteria will lead off the 3rd inning for the Cardinals. They lead the Phils 3-1.
Two.
3-1 lead for the Cardinals. Omar Dahl settling down in the 2nd inning. He struck out 2. Vina singled, but was then caught stealing. Scott Rowland takes a called strike. Rowland flied to left his first time up. Rowland 0 for 3 in last night's game. Now 1-1. Rowland, Lieberthal, and Lee for the Phillies here in the 3rd inning against Pat Hentgen. 2-1 to the 3rd baseman, Scott Rowland.
Interesting thing about Scott Rowland, John Bowles, who manages the Florida Marlins, said if he was going to start a baseball team and he had one player to pick, he would be one of the 3 that he would consider as his first pick to start a club. To give you an idea of the ability offensively and defensively of Scott Rowland.
Who are the other 2?
He didn't say who the other 2 were, but he said this is a guy that he would consider.
Ground ball to the right side. The first baseman Paquette with the foot to the pitcher. Hentgen covering. Rowland now 0 for 2.
Nice play by Paquette there. Got the ball to the pitcher as soon as he could. Get the ball to the pitcher as soon as you can. That way he can take those little short steps and beat the runner to the bag. I mean, this ball is very wide of first base. Takes a couple of steps, leads him. Now watch him look for the bag right there and take those little tiny steps. You try to step the bag with your right foot just like he did on the inside half of the bag so the runner doesn't step on your foot and spike you. Nice play.
Lieberthal pops up the first pitch. Vina 2 away. Next Saturday, Matt Williams leads the Arizona Diamondbacks into the Big Apple as they take on Mike Piazza and the Mets. Next Saturday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on FX. Mets and Diamondbacks battling for the National League wild card.
And battling to get back in first place, both clubs. That should be a pretty good ball game right there.
Giants won today. 12-3 over Atlanta. Arizona just underway with the Cubs. Mets and Braves both lost in the NL East. Travis Lee, long foul down the left field line, 0-2.
I was talking to Hal McRae before the ball game, and I asked him about Burrell and Travis Lee. And what he said about Travis Lee was, he said he lost a lot of his confidence last year, which is pretty obvious when you consider he lost his job at first base, went into a slump. And he said that they're going to tweak him a little bit, but they're not going to try to change anything with his swing. They want to watch him from now until the end of the year to try and figure out if they can learn something. And Hal McRae, you can just see him a little bit right there.
He's hiding.
He's hiding because he knows I'm talking about him. Pretty good hitter as a player, pretty good hitting coach, former major league manager with Kansas City.
Curve misses, ball 1-2 on Travis Lee, who drove in the Phillies' only run back in the first inning. Two balls, 2 strikes. He got him. Lee called out on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Hentgen. A 1-2-3 third. 30 home runs in just 70 games for the Cardinals. Chatting with pitcher Darryl Kyle before he was placed on the disabled list back on July 7th. And while you were watching some of McGuire's monster home runs, Edgar Renteria grounded out to the 3rd baseman Rowland for the first out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So that will bring up Sean Dunston, who doubled in a pair of runs.
This is the guy he can't get out. He cannot get this guy out.
A 2-run double back in the first inning. He's now 6 for 9 with 3 doubles and a home run off Omar Dahl. Jeff Torborg and I did a game earlier this season on Baseball Thursday on Fox Sports Net at the Vet. Mark McGwire hit 3 home runs in that game against the Philadelphia Phillies. Dunston with a drive, deep left field. If it's fair, it's gone. It's foul.
Almost 7 for 10. McGwire, when he gets hot, he can just route those home runs. Once every 7 or 8 at bats, he's just banging home runs left and right. I've never seen a guy in batting practice draw, number 1, such a big crowd, and number 2, hit the ball so far. Just hit the ball so far, and he knows it's gone. The question is it fair or foul? He is a terrific athlete. Terrific.
Fouls this one back, 1-2.
You know, for a guy that came up as a shortstop, he can play anywhere in the infield, can play anywhere really in the outfield. And for a guy at his age, I believe he's 37 now, you know, he can still give you a lot of contribution offensively and defensively.
Did it go around? No. You know, we've talked about so many of the young stars who are high draft picks: Roland, Travis Lee, Pat Burrell, J.D. Drew. Dunston was the top pick in the draft back in 1982, first overall.
Yeah, and a number 1 draft pick who, you know, had a great career.
Spent most of it with the Cubs. And has bounced around a bit. He's played with 6 teams, but he spent 12 of his 16 seasons in Chicago.
Doesn't seem to be slowing down to me at his age.
Tony La Russa uses his bench so well. As we mentioned, 3 regulars not in the lineup tonight: Clark, Edmonds, and Langford. La Russa has used 103 different lineups this year, most in the majors.
Yeah, there was an article about that in the paper yesterday here in St. Louis. And what they were talking about is, well, one of the things that fans don't like about Tony La Russa is the fact that he does use a lot of different lineups. Well, the guy is in first place, and he uses lineups because he thinks that's the best way he has to win. Move a guy here, move a guy there. But I don't see why fans would get upset with that. And to me, if you're a fan, your team's in first place, the manager's doing a pretty good job.
Dunston goes down on strikes. 5th strikeout for Omar Dahl.
And he's working that off-speed stuff so well tonight, getting a lot of outs on that slow stuff on the outside half of the plate. Now watch Dunston here. Watch him just reach for this pitch, and watch it go down and away. Well, that's a great pitch right there. Now you think about that pitch, and you think about the hitters trying to be alert of that inside fastball all the time. That'll give you something to think about as a hitter. And even if you're only throwing 84, you still got to throw the ball in off the plate. And one of the best guys I ever remember doing that, who was a power pitcher early in his career, Frank Tanana. Boy, unbelievable how he could get guys out inside when he couldn't throw hard at all. He couldn't break 84. But what a pitcher he was.
Frank Tanana was the winning pitcher in the first game at the new Comiskey Park. 16-0. White Sox lost. 6th strikeout for Omar Dahl, who has settled down after the rough first. Tatis goes down on strikes for the 2nd time in 3 innings. Phillies starter Omar Dahl allowed 3 runs, 3 hits in the first inning, but has struck out 6 Cardinals over the first 3, including Dunston and Tatis to end the 3rd. Pat Burrell leads off the Phillies' 4th with a base hit into right field. 3rd hit of the game for the Phillies. And Burrell is on for the 2nd time tonight.
Burrell, of course, number 1 draft pick, taken by the Phillies out of the University of Miami. Came up as a 3rd baseman. They put him at first. Now he's got a home in left field, and I would think that this guy, if they can continue to sign him, has got a chance to be a great player. A J.D. Drew type of player that St. Louis signed after Philadelphia couldn't.
Here's Marlon Anderson, who popped out to the shortstop Renteria with the bases loaded to end the Phillies' threat back in the first inning. Anderson spent the entire season with the Phillies last year. He was sent down to AAA Scranton in spring training. Earned a starting job in the AAA All-Star game, and was recalled earlier this month when Mickey Morandini was traded to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty tough job for somebody who last year was in the big leagues all year to go back down to the minor leagues for a year. Pretty tough duty at times. It's a drastically different lifestyle. Not a lot of charter flights in the minor leagues.
No.
A lot of those 7 a.m. flights after night games. A lot of bus rides.
Some charter bus rides.
I'm sure they take some buses.
2-1 on Anderson, nobody out. Burrell on at first. With the Cardinals leading the Phillies 3-1. Top of the fourth inning. Start of the game was delayed an hour 21 minutes by rain. Pitch out, 3-1.
So they're thinking Burrell might be trying to steal a base here. How many stolen bases does Burrell have this year? None. Maybe they're thinking the hit and run was going to be put on. Hank in this ball game has walked 3 already.
Make it 4.
4 already.
Four walks, 3 strikeouts for Hinkin. Phillies have runners on first and second for the number 8 hitter, the shortstop, Tomas Perez.
This is not the first time these two teams have played this year, and you wonder whether the St. Louis Cardinals are trying to pick a sign from the third base coach here. Maybe they thought they knew something. But Burrell's not going anywhere at first base, and you got the bottom of the lineup coming up to the plate.
Ball 1 to Perez, who walked leading off the second inning. Perez making his 13th start. Phillies traded their starting shortstop Desi Relaford to the Padres just prior to the deadline. They traded both middle infielders, Relaford and Mickey Morandini. Anderson and Perez were the starting combination in AAA. Now both up with the big club.
They say this is probably going to be the shortstop short term, if not long term, for the Phillies. Tomas Perez. Anderson, of course, has a big league experience of 1 year before this year, so they're hoping that he learned a lot this year at the minor league level, and obviously he did well. He made the AAA All-Star team.
First and second, nobody out. Cardinals leading 3-1. Burrell with his leadoff second. Anderson, the runner, on first. One ball, 2 strikes on Perez, with the pitcher Omar Dahl waiting on deck. Pat Hinkin has walked 4. Ground ball to the right side. Paquette thought about throwing to second, instead took it to the bag for the first out. Both runners advance. Second and third, 1 out. Well, tomorrow, Red shortstop Barry Larkin will talk about the outpouring of love he's received from the hometown fans. This Week in Baseball, Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern and Pacific on FX. It's as close to the game as you can get. Here's Omar Dahl, who bunted into a fielder's choice his first time up.
Now here's an opportunity for a pitcher to help his cause. Infield is back, especially the shortstop and the second baseman. All you got to do is put the ball in play to either guy, and you're going to get yourself an RBI. And he is a contact hitter.
He's driven in 4 runs this year, including 1 home run. Pop-up caught by the shortstop Renteria for the second out. Not exactly what Dahl had in mind.
You know, a lot of times when you're a good contact hitter as a pitcher and you go up to the plate, you look in that situation, you say to yourself, hey, I'd get myself a run right here by just playing pepper with the second baseman. And Dahl is not an overpowering type of pitcher. I mean, Hinken, not an overpowering type of guy. And what's he do? He pops it up.
Well, we just told you about Barry Larkin hosting This Week in Baseball. Last week's host was Doug Glanville. Glanville 0 for 2 in tonight's game. Second and third, 2 outs. A called strike. 0-1.
And I wonder if the players tape that or say, I got to get a copy of that. I got to keep it from a reel. Because it's kind of a fun thing. And the shows that I have watched, the players have fun doing it, as they should.
Fox brought back This Week in Baseball on network TV for the first time this year. And each week, a different Major League player is the guest host. Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter earlier in the season. Barry Larkin this weekend. Doug Glanville last week. Low and away, 2 balls, 1 strike. As we check out the scores, Diamondbacks have fallen behind 1-0 to the Cubs. Expos and Padres scoreless. Yankees 9-1 over the Angels. Andy Pettitte wins his 15th. Pedro Martinez wins his 14th.
Interesting thing about the Angels, you know, the Angels are in that wild card hunt. Right now they are, I got them 3 games out of first place as a result of their loss today, but this is a big road trip for the Angels. New York, and I believe after New York they go up to Boston. Big road trip for a team that's had a pretty good year this year. No one expected them to be where they are at this stage of the season.
2-2 on Glanville, 2 outs, top of the 4th inning. Runners on second and third for the Phillies. Glanville calls time. Slow roller down the first base line. Hinken tags out Glanville for the 3rd out of the inning. So 2 Phillies are stranded. We head to the bottom of the 4th from Busch. 3-1 St. Louis.
Had himself a pretty good night tonight. He has struck out 6. His high for the season is 7. Fastball on the inside corner. Off-speed stuff away. Fastball looking, gets Drew. Breaking ball away, and I love these 2 pitches. He gets Dunston to swing in a bad one. Another off-speed pitch gets Tatis. He's got it working tonight with the off-speed stuff. You like to see that.
Eric Davis leads off the Cardinals' 4th with his 2nd hit of the game. A single into center field. You saw the 6 strikeouts by Dahl. Cardinals have struck out more than any other team in baseball.
They're in first place.
They're also 2nd in the National League in home runs.
Most people that are Cardinal fans don't care about 963 Ks.
No.
They care about the Cardinals in first place and on their way to winning the division title.
They don't care if the Cardinals strike out 27 times a game.
No, they don't care. Just win the ball game. I don't think anybody on the Cardinals cares if Jim Edmonds has struck out 100 times this year. Don't care. MVP candidate? Absolutely. Big numbers.
Ray Lankford, big strikeout numbers as well.
There's Edmonds talking, standing right next to McGuire. They have become friendly.
Craig Paquette flat out to the warning track in left field his first time up. McGuire, Edmonds, Lankford. Out of the lineup tonight, McGuire, of course, on the disabled list. Those three Cardinals who are not playing tonight have hit 79 home runs and have driven in 199 runs this season.
Still not the reason they're in first place. The reason the Cardinals are in first place is their pitching is much more in control. Their pitchers have been good this year, not great, certainly good, and they've taken the ball every time it's their turn.
Paquette pops it up, foul territory. Travis Lee, one away. What a year it has been for Jim Edmonds in his first season in St. Louis.
Runs, third. Walks, fifth. Home runs, he's tied for sixth with 32. On-base percentage is .425, and slugging percentage 10th. Everybody's slugging percentage is up this year. And those numbers are an indication of the fact that he is going to be considered. He is going to get some votes for the MVP this season.
Edmonds and McGuire grew up pretty close to each other in Southern California, but did not really know each other well until Edmonds was acquired by the Cardinals during spring training.
And it's interesting that Jimmy Edmonds, had a bad rap in Southern California playing for the Angels. And one of the things that McGuire said about him when he was acquired to St. Louis, he said, I'm not going to judge him by anything I've read or anything I've heard. I'm going to judge him from the day I meet him, and they have become friendly. And the other thing that McGuire said is, you're not going to believe how good it is to play in this town. This is a real baseball town. I mean, you walk around this city and around this ballpark before a game, and all you see is people wearing red.
All we saw during the rain were red umbrellas.
Red umbrellas. This is a big baseball town.
They're playing football across town tonight at the Trans World Dome. Preseason game between the Rams and the Buffalo Bills. The Super Bowl champion Rams.
I've asked a few people in town since I've been here, what's the most popular sport? The Rams win the Super Bowl. What do you like better, the football or the baseball? About 50-50, I got the answer.
Matheny into center field. The catch is made by Glanville for the second out. Davis retreats back to first.
Well, who do you like? Who do you like? I like this guy a little bit. I like Piazza. Sheffield's coming on. Edmonds has done a good job. I mean, I like Jeff Kent as well.
I like all six. Sounds like you do too.
Yeah, I like them all.
Boy, Piazza's had a great year.
I'm going to pick him. I'm going to pick Piazza. I like Piazza.
How about Sheffield? 40 homers.
Team isn't going anywhere. I like a guy who's going to do that on a team that's going to win, and I don't think the Dodgers are going to win.
J.D. Drew with a base hit into center field. Davis holds at second. Sheffield's 40th home run today tied the club record held by Piazza.
And how the Dodgers ever let Piazza go, I am in shock. But to let him go, oh boy.
That's the L.A. Dodger record.
Yep.
They, of course, were traded for each other, Dodgers and the Marlins. Piazza was not a Marlin for very long.
And it's interesting, Gary Sheffield, if you look back on his career as a player, he got into some trouble early in his career. And he was hard to deal with as a player young in his career. But from what I understand, and I have not done a Dodger game in a long time, from what I understand, he's one of the leaders on that club right now.
Feature article on Gary Sheffield in Sports Illustrated 2 weeks ago. And as you said, it sounds like
he's turned his
life around.
Absolutely.
Recently married.
And it's nice to read and nice to hear about things like that.
Sheffield is the nephew of Dwight Gooden, who has
has he done a great job
back to the New York Yankees.
And great job for the Yankees when they were in desperate need of somebody to come in and get them some innings.
Uncle Doc. That's what Gary calls him. Henkin goes down on strikes for the second time tonight. 7th strikeout for Dahl, which ties his season high. For the Phillies here in the 5th. Abreu 1 for 2 tonight, and he has a big fan in his manager, Terry Francona.
I don't think he's come close to hitting his ceiling. That's probably a scary thought. Got one of the prettiest swings in the league. We don't know what kind of power he's going to hit for. He does a lot of different things to help you win a game. He can run, he can throw, he can hit for power, he can get a single. He's the type of player you try to accumulate on your roster. When you get a bunch of them like we think we're doing, you get a better team.
Got to get a bunch of them, though. Burrell's another one of those kinds of players. I think Glanville, Rowland are those types of players. Second baseman, shortstop. I got a question mark about those two guys right now, mainly because of the lack of experience.
Abreu looking to put his way on. Safe. An infield hit. Abreu's second hit of the night.
Left-handed batter, got good speed. Take advantage of it. Not even close. I mean, he puts a good bunt down here, and the third baseman, Tatis, makes a nice play, but you know you're not going to beat the speed on a good bunt like that. And they're talking about Tatis is not really 100% recovered from that groin injury he had, which cost him a lot of time earlier this year. He's been coming out of ball games late in the game for defense's purposes, and the guy that's been taking his place at third has mainly been the guy at first place, Paquette.
Tatis missed 54 games with that groin injury earlier this season. At the time of the injury in late April, he was leading the National League in RBIs. Scott Rowland takes ball one from Pat Hinkin. Rowland 0 for 2 tonight.
And one more thing about Abreu is the fact that, you know, Houston kind of gave him up to Tampa Bay in the expansion draft. Tampa Bay immediately traded him to Philadelphia for Kevin Stalker, whom they, in Tampa, later released. Funny things happen in baseball.
So a couple of teams gave up on Abreu. He's become a mainstay in Philadelphia. Last year finished third in the National League in batting, .335 average.
25 years old, bright future ahead of him, and as the manager said, you know, we don't know exactly what he's going to do yet, but he's got a lot of talent, tremendous amount of talent.
Ball 3-0 on Scott Rowland. Bobby Abreu, one of only 3 players in the majors last year with 10 or more doubles, triples, home runs, and steals.
Yeah, he led the Phillies last year in averages, batting average, runs, triples, total bases, walks, on base percentage. I mean, this is a guy that, you know, is making his mark in Philadelphia, not getting a lot of national press, but certainly becoming a better ball player. And as Francona says, you know, we can find 4 or 5 more guys like this, we're on our way.
This year, Abreu among the league leaders in both doubles and triples. Abreu goes, and Rowland bounces it foul. Remember, Abreu stole second in the first inning and would later come around to score the Phillies' only run of the game. He was driven in by Travis Lee. Abreu with 16 steals this year, second on the club behind Glanville, who has 23 stolen bases.
Yeah, I don't think stealing is what it used to be in Major League Baseball. You know, a lot of clubs would have guys that would just flat out run, but you know, with the game has turned more into a power game, I think, and I think as a result of that, you don't see as much stealing.
The payoff pitch to Rowland, popped foul, back behind first base. 1 run, 4 hits for the Phillies, 3 runs on 6 hits for the Cardinals. Third base coach John Vukovic. Out, top of the 5th inning. Abreu went, and then time was called by the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel.
And I wonder who called timeout. A lot of times in a situation like that, the player might just say, timeout, timeout, I want time. And the umpire doesn't have to give him timeout. Depends on the umpire.
Abreu again on the run, but it's ball 4. 5th walk issued by Hinkin. And the Phillies again have runners on first and second with nobody out.
You talked about the base on balls last night. One of the reasons, in fact, I think the main reason Philadelphia lost the ball game was their bullpen came in late in the game, couldn't get anybody out, had a lot of walks, and they walked, I believe, 12 in the ball game last night. The Phillies have not been able to take advantage in this ball game of the wildness of Henkin. He's putting one on per inning, base on ball wise.
Strike called on Lieberthal, who walked in the first, popped out in the third. Phillies had first and second, nobody out in the fourth inning, but could not score. First and second, nobody out here in the fifth. Lieberthal line drive caught by the shortstop, Renteria. Both runners get back.
Good heads-up base running there on the part of Abreu. Doesn't get doubled off there. And of course, if you double a guy off first base in a situation like that, it's even worse because the ball's in front of him. You're not going to go to third on a single to left anyway. Line drive right at the shortstop, easy play, and they're looking for two, but Abreu gets back pretty quickly. Notice the second baseman Vina trying to sneak in behind him there.
Ball one to Travis Lee. Signals in a run in the first inning, caught looking in the third. Lee fouls it back, 1-1. Back in '96 at San Diego State, Travis Lee won the Golden Spikes Award as top amateur player in the nation. J.D. Drew won it the next year in '97. The winner back in 1980 was Lee's manager, Terry Francona, at the University of Arizona.
There you go. You get me more of that good information. You always seem to get it.
We try to pass at least one per game on to you.
Yeah, and you do it.
Lee with a shot. And it's caught by the right fielder, Eric Davis. Davis robs Lee of an extra base hit.
And I tell you what, if that ball gets by him, he's right down on his face with a great diving catch, and I think that's going to got a chance to be a triple. Certainly going to drive in 2 runs. That's an outstanding catch by a veteran baseball player. I mean, look at him go get this. That ball was hit hard by Travis Lee. I mean, that was a rope to right field.
Standing ovation for the 38-year-old right fielder, Eric Davis.
Yeah, here's a guy, Eric Davis, wants to play more than he does, but you know what, 38, he does a great job filling in here, filling in there, still getting great at-bats and a great batting average against left-handed pitching, which is why he's in there tonight.
Here's Pat Burrell with 2 away, runners on first and second. Coming into the game, Burrell only 3 for his last 31, but tonight he walked in the first, singled in the 4th inning. Abreu, the runner on second, Rolen on at first. Off-speed pitch, Burrell chases, strike 1.
Now, Hal McRae, when I talked to him about Burrell, what he said about Burrell was, you know, he was brought up before they wanted to bring him up. They wanted to bring him up next year, maybe the month of September, just to get his feet wet. He's got a lot of strikeouts this year, but they think that is going to change next year as he starts to learn the big leagues and what it's like and what the pitching is like. Obviously, very high on Burrell.
Fouled back, he lost his bat. The count now 1-2. Pat the Bat, as he has been nicknamed, could not hold on to his bat.
Who couldn't hold on to it?
Pat the Bat.
Pat the Bat, yeah.
Picked up that nickname at the University of Miami.
Pat the Bat, first freshman ever to lead the NCAA in average. Career average 442.
The 1-2 in the air, center field. J.D. Drew backpedaling, and he makes the catch. So the Phillies, for the second consecutive inning, leave 2 on. Eric Davis, a spectacular catch in right field, robbing Travis Lee. Midway through, 3-1 Cardinals. Kenny Johnny Albert, Ken Brett back in St. Louis Busch Stadium. Defensive play of the game moments ago. First and second, one out. Eric Davis in right field, catching the screaming liner off the bat of Travis Lee.
Notice the pitcher right there to thank him. Saved him a couple of runs right there.
Top of the order for the Cardinals here in the fifth. Fernando Vina with 2 hits tonight. Takes a called strike from Omar Dahl. Vina, infield hit off the glove of the third baseman Rolen in the first inning. Singled to left and was caught stealing in the second. One and one.
Interesting to note, Kenny, that St. Louis has action in their bullpen. Right-hander Matt Moore is up and throwing. I wonder if that might not be all with the base on balls.
Ground ball to the right side. Anderson to Lee. One away. Major League Baseball on FX is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, making it happen every day. With one away, here in the Cardinals' fifth, Edgar Renteria steps in. Renteria 0 for 1 with a walk. Crowd of 42,784 on hand as the Cardinals become the first major league team this year to reach 2.5 million.
They have sold a lot of tickets in this town, and they will continue to sell tickets as long as they're in first place. It's going to be a great playoff season. I still think these guys are going to make it. Really going on a limb here with a 7.5 game lead, or a 7 game lead right now.
7.5 should they win. And many of the fans were on hand as early as 4 o'clock. It was photo day. Thousands of fans lined the perimeter of the field between 4 and about 6:30. And the Cardinal players would come out of the dugout and greet the fans, take pictures with some of the youngsters. Jim Edmonds and his Cardinal teammates. Photo day here at Busch. Bounce to third. Rolling. Throws out Renteria for the second out. Such a great sports town, St. Louis. In fact, the Sporting News, which ironically is based in St. Louis, recently named St. Louis as the top sports town of the last year, with the Rams winning the Super Bowl, the Cardinals having their success this season, and Mark McGwire with the record-setting 70 home runs 2 years ago. The St. Louis Blues finished with the best regular season record in the NHL. Chris Pronger of the Blues was named MVP of the NHL. Kurt Warner MVP of the NFL. So should Edmonds win the National League MVP, St. Louis
That'd be a grand slam.
would have an MVP in all 3 sports.
And all 3 teams draw very, very well. It is a good sports town.
Sean Dunston drove in the first 2 Cardinal runs with a first inning double. He struck out his second time up. Pops this one up. No room for Travis Lee. 0-2 on Sean Dunston here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Omar Dahl has certainly settled down after allowing 3 runs on 3 hits in the first.
Yeah, you look back at that first inning, infield single on a walk really hurt him, and then Dunston, who's killed him his whole career, doubles in 2. And then Eric Davis gets a single to drive in third. Outside of that, he's been pretty good tonight, Dahl has. Be a good story for him next year if he can, if he can lay off winter ball, get some of that strength back, get that fastball back, go back and be the pitcher he has been. I like to read about things like that, and I like to see it. I like him as a young man, as a pitcher right now, from what I can see.
Now 1-2 on Sean Dunston. Phillies have revamped their pitching staff. They traded Kurt Schilling. They traded Andy Ashby. They lost Paul Bird for the year.
Lost Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson was their closer. And it's interesting how they lost him. Supposedly on opening night this year in Arizona, Philadelphia's got a chance to win the ball game. He warms up and he calls down and says, "Can't go. I can't go." And he hasn't been able to go all season long. And he only had a 1-year contract to start. So I guess one of the questions the Phillies have to ask themselves is, well, do we want him back next year? And the question is, he's missed all year. They paid him for the whole season. What do they do if they don't have a closer in hand?
Ironically, Jackson, during the decade of the 90s, led the majors in appearances. He has not pitched this year. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes on Dunston with 2 outs here in the 5th. He got him. Season high 8th strikeout for Omar Dahl. A 1-2-3 5th. 3-1 Cards.
Test is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
We head to the 6th inning in St. Louis with the Cards leading 3-1. New pitcher for St. Louis is 26-year-old right-hander Matt Morris, who missed all of last year following Tommy John surgery. Morris will make his 21st appearance this season.
Matt Morris has had a great career with the Giants, not the Giants, but the Cardinals. When he's healthy, 36 hits, 37 innings, only 14 walks. But, you know, coming off surgery like that, he was a starter in 97 and 98 with the Cardinals, started 40 ball games, a former first-round draft pick in June of 1995. And he's the kind of a guy that's got ace stuff. He might have as good a stuff as anybody on this club right now. And for some reason, because the starting pitching has been so consistent this year for Tony La Russa's club, he has stayed in the bullpen.
As we mentioned earlier, no Cardinal starter has missed a turn all season, but that streak will come to an end tomorrow. Andy Bennis earlier today placed on the disabled list, retroactive to August 15th, this past Tuesday. And Britt Reams, called up from AAA, will start tomorrow against former Cardinal Kent Bottenfield, who won 18 games here in St. Louis last year and was one of the players traded for Jim Edmonds.
And then traded immediately, you know, later this, late this summer to Philadelphia. And he had a lot of press in front of his locker yesterday, a lot of St. Louis press kind of welcoming him back.
Bottenfield, the Cardinals' ace last year, and due to his success, they were able to use him as one of the 2 players, along with Adam Kennedy, to acquire Jim Edmonds.
And Kennedy done a very good job for California.
One and 2 on Marlon Anderson, leading off for the Phillies here in the 6th inning.
They just announced the attendance here tonight, 47,163. I believe they said the 28th sellout that they have had this season. They love their baseball here.
Fans hung in there despite the 1 hour, 21-minute rain delay. Pat Hinkin, Cards starter, lasted only 5 innings.
Well, the 5 walks, you know, it's another one of those situations where you make it. I think he made 95 pitches in 5 innings, and that's just, it's a lot of pitches.
Marlon Anderson flies out to the left fielder, Sean Dunston. Hinkin allowed only 1 run on 4 hits. Struck out 3, but walked 5 Phillies.
His ERA starting at the game tonight was 5.10. If the St. Louis Cardinals win this ball game, he will win his 12th. And it looks like he's on track right now to win 16, 17 ball games, which is, you know, pretty good season.
There's Tomas Perez. Cardinals revamping their pitching staff during this past offseason. Andy Bennis came back. Darryl Kyle, Pat Hinkin. The 3 veterans brought in. Garrett Stevenson, the youngster, has won 13 games. Rick Ankiel started strong, but has won only 1 of his last 10 starts. First strikeout for Matt Morris as Perez goes down on strikes. We continue with our Todd Helton watch. The Colorado Rockies star, 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs, now batting .397.
He's slumping. He needs a rest. Interesting thing about Matt Morris, you know, I said earlier, he's got ace stuff, fastball, low 90s, good breaking stuff, great control. Sounds like the guy's going to be a starter again. You know, it'd be interesting to see what happens to him in the offseason.
Whose spot does he take?
Well, that's a good question.
Omar Dahl with a base hit into left field. The Phillies pitcher with his 8th hit of the season. So now Doug Glanville will bat for the 4th time. Glanville 0 for 3. He has not gotten the ball out of the infield. Struck out, popped to second, grounded out to the pitcher Henkin. 2 outs, top of the 6th inning. All the runs coming in the 1st. Phillies scored 1 at the top of the 1st inning. Cardinals answered with 3 in the bottom. Matt Morris working his 1st inning in relief of Pat Henkin. Off-speed pitch misses, 1-1.
And Morris is one of those guys that can come out of the bullpen and give you those 3 or 4 innings in a relief role. Tight ball game at 3-1. I'm sure they're going to leave him in short term unless he gets himself into some trouble here.
He retired the first 2 Phillies here in the 6th, and then allowed a base hit to the opposing pitcher. Now 2-1 on Doug Glanville. Did he go around? No, says first base umpire Rich Rieker.
Rieker says nobody's going around tonight. Every time you ask, I'm saying no, no, and no again.
So the count now 3-1 on Glanville.
And what did I say just before Glanville came to the plate? Got real good control.
Takes a strike, and the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top 6th. Cardinals leading 3-1. Dahl the runner on first. The payoff pitch to Glanville. Popped up. Shallow right. Vigna. And Glanville is now 0 for 4. Dahl stranded on first. 5.5 for the books in St. Louis. 3-1 Cardinals.
Bottom of the 6th, still St. Louis 3, Philadelphia 1. St. Louis gets all their runs in the 1st inning. The key pitch tonight, fastball right there, but most of the strikeouts that Dahl has gotten have been with the off-speed stuff. There's a good one right there. Look at Dunston swinging and missing. Here's another off-speed pitch. They're just waving at it. Another off-speed pitch, and the last one down in the strike zone gets Dunston for the 2nd time striking out. But Dunston has been the guy that has hurt him. He came into the ball game tonight hitting .625 off Dahl. His double in the 1st inning netted 2 RBIs, and that's really the difference right now in the ball game. 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for Omar Dahl.
Dahl will face the middle of the order here in the 6th inning. Tatis, Davis, and Paquette. Fernando Tatis has struck out twice. Cardinals leading 3-1, looking to win their 4th consecutive game. Phillies have dropped 5 in a row. 1-1 on Tatis. Eric Davis will be next. Davis with 2 hits and a spectacular catch in right field tonight. 1-2.
One thing about Dahl, he gets the ball back from the catcher. He's on the mound right now, ready to go. I mean, he's ready to go. Ready to go. And now he's got to wait for the hitter. He's got to wait for the umpire to tell him it's okay to go.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Not a lot to think about out there. Most pitchers, if you have an idea of what you're doing, you get the ball back from the catcher, you know what the next pitch is going to be. You know what you want to throw, and you know where you want to throw it.
He got him. Tatis has struck out 3 times tonight. 1 away in the Cardinals' 6th. Well, weeknights on the X Show. Find out the latest trends, learn how to please the ladies, and get in gear for hot fun in the summer. Catch all new episodes of the X Show with Craig, John, Justin, and new host Daphne Brogdon. The X Show, weeknights at 11, only on FX.
I know you love that show.
The VCR is set.
You can't stay up that late either, can you?
Not anymore. Not with a 10-month-old at home. Eric Davis, 2 hits tonight. Check out these numbers coming into the game against left-handed pitchers this year. 432.
432, and that's probably closer to about 450, 460 right now.
With the 2 hits tonight against right-handers, 238.
And here's a guy that knows how to play. We've seen his defense, we've seen his offense, but you know, at 30, I think he's about 38 now. Yeah, he needs rest, and the best time to play him is in a situation where you can get the most out of him. Against a left-hander, certainly is a key time to put him in the lineup, because he can do a lot of things for you still. Can run the bases well, catch and throw.
He's played in about 2/3 of the Cardinal games this year, and he walks on 4 pitches. Only the second walk issued by Dahl, and Davis is on for the 3rd time tonight. So a 1-out base runner for the Cardinals as Davis chats with first base coach Dave McKay. Craig Paquette steps in. Paquette 0 for 2 tonight. Base hit left field on the first pitch from Dahl. First hit of the night for Paquette. And the Cardinals have runners on first and second.
Double play, however, still in order. And anytime you can keep the double play in order, you like that as a pitcher. First ball swinging just lines it into left field.
First and second, 1 out. Mike Matheny at the plate. Matheny 0 for 2. Struck out and fly to center. Ball 1. You see Matheny's average only 159 with runners in scoring position. Davis on at second. Paquette over at first. Double play grounder, 6-4-3. So the Phillies turn 2. It deflected off the glove of the pitcher Omar Dahl. Inning over. 3-1 Cards.
Tuesday.
Back, St. Louis 3, Philadelphia 1. Nice double play here to end the 6th inning. Watch the pitcher in a good position to field the ball, but it's a line drive. Just goes off his glove, so he's going to get an assist there. And once it gets to the shortstop, it's pretty easy. 1 to 6 to 4 to 3. Nice little underhand scoop. Throws him out by about 20 feet. Also have a defensive replacement here. Will Clark defending at first base now.
And Paquette replaces Tatis at third. As you mentioned, Cardinals have been pulling Fernando out of games early, so Paquette moves to third. Will Clark now in at first.
I didn't surprise you with that, though, did I?
Absolutely not. By the way, that double play turn by the Phillies, they're 94th, fewest in the National League, but it was a big one. So Dahl works out of the jam thanks to the 1-6-4-3 double play for scoring at home. Bobby Abreu leading off for the Phillies here in the 7th. Abreu with 2 hits tonight. He's 2 for 3 and has scored the Phillies' only run. Takes a called strike from Matt Morris, working his 2nd inning in relief of Pat Hinkin. 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes on Abreu. so Morris steps off.
Yeah, Morris is ready to throw. Abreu's not quite ready, so the umpire is going to give him a little more time right now. Got two guys on the mound right now. They kind of like to get the ball and just get it back. And there's a strike on the inside corner.
Second strikeout.
Outstanding control. Started him after the fastball on the outside corner. Gets him looking on a fastball inside corner at the knees.
Second strikeout for Matt Morris.
Well, that's a great pitch right there. Fastball, it just comes back at the very end, just catches the corner.
Here's Scott Rowland, who takes a called strike one. Rowland 0 for 2. Walked his last time up back in the 5th inning. Ground ball to the shortstop, Renteria. Across to Will Clark. 2 away. So Morris has faced 6 batters. The only base runner, the only hit he has allowed was to the opposing pitcher, Omar Dahl.
The opposing pitcher. Now, if only Dahl had gotten that base hit when he had a chance to score a run right there. Of course, the base hit he got didn't matter, but I'm impressed with Matt Morris. You know, I kept on hearing about the stories about what a great pitcher he was, and, you know, had that terrible injury. It took him a long time to recover. You know, to have the Tommy John surgery, it takes a year. John Smoltz had it. I believe Scott Erickson just had it for Baltimore. It's a serious operation, but guys come back and they don't seem to really lose anything. It just takes a long time for them to recover from the injury. But I'm impressed with Matt Morris.
Tomorrow's Cardinals starter, Britt Reams, coming back from Tommy John surgery. He missed 2 seasons, 2 minor league seasons.
Maybe it takes 2 years in the minors because you don't get as good a care.
2-1 on Mike Lieberthal. 2 outs, top of the 7th inning. Strike 2, 2-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. 47,163. Cardinals go over $2.5 million in their 60th home game. Orioles should reach that mark tomorrow.
And the Orioles are doing with the team for the last couple of years hasn't played real well,
to say the least. Popped up, a towering pop-up. Matheny throws the mask down and makes the catch. 1-2-3-7 for Matt Morris. 7th inning stretch time. No more rain here at Busch. Phillies have had their opportunities. We take you back to the top of the 5th inning with runners on 1st and 2nd. Nobody out. Henkin on the mound. Lieberthal lines after the shortstop Renteria. And then Travis Lee is robbed by Eric Davis in right field.
And I think that's a key play defensively in the ball game, because if that ball gets by Davis, I think 2 runners are going to score, which means this is a 3-3 ball game right now instead of 3-1 St. Louis.
Omar Dahl working into the 7th. Dahl went 7 or more innings in 4 of his first 8 starts this year. But in his last 12 starts, he has not gone 7. So should he finish this inning, it would be the first time in his last 13 starts that he goes 7 innings.
Well, the key might be here, right here, this first hitter, because you've got the number 9 hitter on deck. You get Drew out, you got a pretty good chance of getting out of this inning.
And we thought we might see a pinch hitter, but Morris, the pitcher, is in the on-deck circle. Drew, line drive, caught by the second baseman, Marlon Anderson. And now Morris heads back into the dugout, so we will see a pinch hitter. And it will be Placido Polanco.
Interesting move there on Tony La Russa's part. You got a guy that comes out of the bullpen, and all he's done is dominate. Gets out 6 out of the 7 hitters he faces, and you pinch hit for him with 1 out.
Morris threw 30 pitches, 21 were strikes. Polanco 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter, batting .341 overall. Remember, it was Polanco who was used as the number 9 hitter 2 years ago for quite a stretch by Tony La Russa when he had the pitcher bat 8th.
He wanted more speed at the bottom of the lineup, and he got that by hitting a player in the number 9 position, but he's quit doing that. And I'm sure there were some people in baseball saying, well, you know, what is he trying to do? But I'm sure Tony La Russa, and one thing you never do if you're going to talk to Tony La Russa, never doubt what he's going to do, because he usually has a pretty good reason why he's doing it.
Yes.
And he's a very bright baseball guy.
So Polanco pinch hitting for Morris. In the dirt, ball 1. One of the local columnists today criticized Tony La Russa for having used so many lineups this year. In non-interleague games, Cardinals have used the most lineups in the majors. These are the total number of lineups used by the 6 division leaders. White Sox have used only 37 different lineups in non-interleague play. Polanco with a base hit into left field, so he pinch hits for Morris, and Polanco comes through with the 1-out single. But the Cardinals at first place, so obviously Tony La Russa's moves have paid off. Tuesday on Son of the Beach, Notch and his unit have to stop a deranged assassin before time runs out. Alan Thicke guest stars on an all-new episode of Son of the Beach, Tuesday at 10 on FX.
Well, you know, my theory on Tony doing things like that is, you know, Tony's just trying to win. You know, and Tony's got Sean Dunston in the lineup tonight because he's hitting .625 off Omar Dahl, and I guarantee you Tony La Russa knows more about baseball than that sports writer knows and carries out in his little pocket. And that's to me, that's a weak subject to write about, a guy who's a great manager. Weak.
First place by 7 games.
Yeah, that's the only thing that matters.
Yet you can always find something to pick on.
Yeah.
Tony loves using his bench. He loves getting everyone in there.
Keep guys sharp if you use them. You know, you put guys on your bench that aren't playing all the time or that aren't regulars, and pretty soon they get rusty. You know, guys need to play. They need to be part of the game every once in a while, and regulars will be healthier in September if they get a little rest in May, June, July, and August.
2-0 count to Fernando Vina, who has 2 hits tonight. 1 out, Polanco, the runner on first. Bottom of the 7th inning. Cardinals leading 3-1. All the runs in the game scored in the first inning. 3-0. Dahl has walked only 2. He struck out 8 in tonight's game. Here's the 3-0. Strike call to the inside corner, 3-1.
Now we're getting some action in the Philadelphia bullpen. Right-hander Jason Boyd is up and throwing now. Dahl's in a little bit of trouble here. 3-1 behind in the count.
Ball 4, so he walks Vina. Third walk issued by Dahl. Cardinals have runners on first and second.
Now, where was that last pitch to Vina? Vina, like, I'll tell you what, if that pitch is low, then we got to find new umpires, because that pitch was over the plate.
32-year-old Paul Emmel, one of the young umpires in Major League Baseball.
And I wonder if this conference is taking place as a result of Terry Francona trying to get a little more time for the guy in the bullpen.
Jason Boyd, who is up throwing just off the DL. He fractured his right hand when he punched the dugout wall earlier this season.
Guy's got a temper. You know, I read a story about him at one time. I guess when he was in high school, he wasn't happy about a performance and he threw his bed out of his window. And I guess it was a queen-size bed. So I think his father said, well, you sleep on the floor for about a week. And supposedly that's what he did before he got a new bed.
He threw his bed out of the window?
From his house.
There's a new one.
Threw his bed out the window. I mean, you like a guy that's got a temper. You know, sometimes you go a little too far.
Did he at least
breaking your hands going a little too far?
Did he at least open the window first?
No, I don't know if he did. Might have broke the window too. Might have been cold in that room.
Dahl falls behind 2-0 to Renteria. Edgar 0 for 2 with a walk.
And you would think if he loses Renteria, he's coming out of the ball game, because even though Dunston is on deck, Dunston has hit him well, and Dunston has struck out twice in this ball game.
Well hit into the left field corner. This one is out of here. 3-run homer for Edgar Renteria. His 14th of the season. It's a 3-run shot, and the Cardinals extend their lead. It is now 6-1.
Gets a curveball, gets it up in the strike zone. Renteria, season high in home runs was 11, now has 14. And the home run is the 24th given up this season by Omar Dahl. That's a lot of long balls, 24 in about 122, 123 innings.
Renteria homered on Wednesday at Wrigley. It was his first home run in 193 at-bats. He does it again 3 days later. John Dunston, 2-run double in the first. He struck out twice since then. 6-1 Cardinals. Dunston pops it up to the left side. The shortstop Perez is under it. 2 away. So Tony La Russa pinch hit for the pitcher Morris. Polanco singled. Dahl then walked Vina. And then Renteria hits a 3-run homer. Now the ovation you hear for Will Clark, who will bat for the first time tonight. Came out of the field in the top half of the inning. Clark batting .345 as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals since the trade from Baltimore, with 4 home runs in 15 games.
You know, Clark has done a great job picking up for Mark McGwire, but unfortunately he's not Mark McGwire. And I think Mark McGwire in the lineup just brings so much more to the plate, and I think he relaxes everybody else on the team because they know that he's capable, you know, of doing what's necessary to help win the ball game offensively. Clark better defensively.
Hard grounder, nice play by Anderson, throws him out. But the Cardinals score 3 runs on 2 hits. Renteria, number 14. 7 innings in the books. 6-1 St. Louis.
We are back. St. Louis now with that 3-run home run from Renteria, leading 6-1, comfortably in front here. And here's the home run pitch right here. Right there. Let me draw it again. Right there, folks. Right off the fat part of the bat. Deep into left field. And Dahl, up to that point, had really pitched a pretty good ball game. I was pretty happy with the way he pitched tonight, but you know, one swing of the bat and it kind of all goes down the drain. And as a result of that, is 6-1, and we have a new pitcher coming in for the St. Louis Cardinals here. Try to get a save, a 2-inning save, and that would be Dave Veras.
33-year-old right-hander.
51 ball games, 20 saves. Been a while since he's had a save. He's only had 3 since the All-Star break. 18 walks, 55 innings, a lot less hits, and 51 strikeouts. Here's a guy that has got pretty good stuff, and I'm going to recall that about the save. I keep on thinking it might be 3-1. 6-1, no save opportunity. Sorry, David.
Unless the Phillies load the bases, in which case the potential tying run would be on deck, and then it would be a save situation. He has 20 saves this year and 25 opportunities. 20
for 25, 31 last year for Colorado. Happy to be off the mountain, probably, down here at sea level with his former teammate, Darryl Kyle.
Travis Lee leading off the Phillies' 8th. Lee drove in the only Phillies run back in the first inning. 1 for 3, robbed by the right fielder Eric Davis, his last time up. Matt Morris, 2 strong innings. He allowed only 1 base hit to the pitcher Omar Dahl, struck out 2, and was pinch hit for by Polanco, who singled and came around to score on Renteria's home run. Veer's wondering about that last pitch.
I was wondering about it too. Strike zone's too small. I hate to say that, but I just think the strike zone's too small. Make these guys swing the bat.
Lee takes 3-1. Center field, Drew on the run, and he makes the catch just shy of the warning track. Travis Lee now 1 for 4.
Yeah, they've lowered the mound from 16 inches to 10 inches. The strike zone should be right here, and it should go up to right here. You know, to me, that's a strike, and I think I'm going to go even higher. I think the strike zone should be here, even a little higher. And that's just not the strike zone. You know, the strike zone for Major League Baseball is about right here, and I think it's about right here. It's too sweet for the hitters right now.
Pat Burrell lines one foul into the stands in left field. That, of course, coming from a former Major League pitcher.
I can see the plate being a little too wide at times. I think I would rather see a high strike or a low strike called compared to what they're calling now than a strike that's off the plate by a couple inches outside or a couple inches inside. Those pitches are tougher to hit than the pitches over the plate, a little higher or a little lower. Oh, nice off-speed pitch right there by Veers. Watch Burrell in this pitch, how far out in front he is.
The 0-2.
Gets him to chase another bad pitch. You get ahead of a hitter like this, he's going to swing at bad pitches. You know, the plate's going to get a little bigger for Burrell as opposed to the count being 2-0 or 3-1.
Burrell 1 for 2 with a walk tonight. 1 out, top of the 8th inning. He got him. First strikeout for Dave Veers.
And once again, what's he get him to do? He gets him to swing at a bad pitch right here, well out of the strike zone. Off balance, out in front of it.
So the Cardinals bullpen, Morris and now Veers. They've gone through the Phillies order once. And the only base hit, Omar Dahl. Marlon Anderson right back to the pitcher, Veers. Veers with a 1-2-3-8. They head to the bottom of the 8th inning in St. Louis. Cardinals in control by 5. Ken Brett back in St. Louis, bottom of the 8th inning. Cardinals leading the Phillies 6-1. The executive producers of FX Baseball Saturday Night are Arthur Smith and Bill Borson. The coordinating producer of FX Baseball Saturday Night is Larry Myers. The head of field operations is Andrea Jenkins. Great job by our entire crew. Following the rain delay here in St. Louis, our producer Jerry Weinstein, director Roy Alfers. Thanks also to Matt Lipp, Rick Tugman, Jim Pells, Mark Alsmeyer, Lisa Campbell. And a very special hello to Brad Zager watching out of the West Coast. We hope you get better soon. Wonder what's wrong with Brad.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, everybody in the crew seems to be very concerned.
Yes. Well, the new pitcher for the Phillies is the right-hander Jason Boyd, who will make his 19th appearance. Began the season with the Pirates. Claimed on waivers by the Brewers in late March. 2 days later, claimed on waivers by the Phillies.
Now, why would Milwaukee claim a guy on March the 29th and then let him go March the 31st?
He threw too many beds.
Threw too many beds out the window. Claim a guy for 2 days. He might not even have got there. Might have taken him 2 days to get there. Oh, by the way, don't go here. Go to Philadelphia. Go back to the other coast.
I wonder if it was a waterbed.
Waterbed.
Eric Davis, 2 hits and a walk. Leading off for the Cardinals here in the 8th. So Dahl went 7 innings, allowed 6 runs on 9 hits. He walked 3, struck out a season-high 9. Right back to the box. Boyd, quick reaction, throws out Davis.
How would you like to be Terry Francona to start the season? And you know, and we're talking about their pitching has been, you know, suspect all season long. You've got Ashby, who doesn't do the job and, you know, falls into quick disfavor with the fans in Philadelphia, and they can be tough fans. We both know that. Kurt Schilling out for at least the first month, and then on opening night you lose your closer. Probably the 3 most important things you can have on your pitching staff. Number 1, number 2 starter, closer. How would you like to start the season like that?
Well, Terry Francona has certainly taken heat in Philadelphia. Paquette pops it foul, 1-1. Francona said yesterday, I've been released 5 times during my playing career. I'm bald and I have a big nose. I'll make it through this. I can handle anything.
And he seems to be taking it pretty well. You know, when you talk to people that cover this team and you say, ask him, is he in any trouble? They say, I don't think so.
He's under contract through 2002. This is 4th season. Paquette fouls out to the first baseman, Travis Lee. 2 away. Well, the Phillies improved in each of Francona's first 3 seasons, from 68 wins to 75 to 77. But they will be hard pressed to improve for a 4th consecutive season.
They got to make a run here, a good run. And I don't think they have the pitching to make that run. You know, offensively, it's been a down year for them. They're down in a lot of the key numbers offensively. Average, runs, hits, RBIs, and home runs. They're way down in the National League along those lines. So it's been a tough year all around for Philadelphia this year. But they do have some good players.
Cardinals with a 6-1 lead. Remember, they trailed 6-0 yesterday and then came back.
And and I think the Cardinals came back last night due to some of the things I was talking to the Phillies coaches with on Friday. You know, the starting pitcher couldn't go very long because he walked 5 and was up to its pitch count. Bullpen came in and just couldn't hold the lead. A lot of walks and, you know, some key base hits, and St. Louis comes back and wins the ball game. A game that they should have won. Philadelphia's got to win that ball game last night.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Mike Matheny, 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. Matheny goes down on strike, so Boyd pitches a 1-2-3-8. We move to the 9th. Phillies down to their final 3 outs. Back in St. Louis, top of the 9th inning, 6-1 Cardinals, with the Cards leading 3-1. Phillies had first and second, 1 out. In the top of the 5th inning, Travis Lee at the plate. Our Nissan play of the game, Eric Davis makes the catch. If that ball got by him, we would have had a tie game.
A tie ball game. Of course, St. Louis, of course, took the lead late in the ball game on the 3-run home run. But key defensive play, probably the play of the game up to this point.
Now it's a pitch for the Cardinals. 34-year-old right-hander Mike Timlin, acquired at the trade deadline from Baltimore.
Timlin, when he was with Baltimore, had 11 saves at the time of the trade. He was acquired on June the 29th. Make that July the 29th. In exchange for a couple of minor leaguers. You know, Baltimore just got rid of some of their high-paid players and tried to get some prospects. Tried to build for the future. One of the things the Orioles have been very poor at, probably if you go back 10 years, finding players that go to the major leagues that came up through the Orioles system and turned out to be pretty good players. They have really been pretty bad in that department.
And the Orioles unloaded Timlin as well as Will Clark to the Cardinals at the trade deadline. So Timlin will pitch the 9th with the Cardinals leading 6-1.
Also got rid of B.J. Suroff and the catcher Charles Johnson. Cleaned out some of that salary, didn't they?
They certainly did. Harold Baines as well.
Harold
to the
Baines,
White Sox with Johnson.
I think Chicago retired Harold's number just a little too early because he was still playing number 1, and he went back to play for him again. I guess the only guy that can wear that number is the guy you retired. So I guess if you retire it, he comes back and play, you give it to him again, right?
I would think he'd be allowed to wear it. Remember, he was initially traded away from the White Sox to the Texas Rangers in the deal involving Sammy Sosa. And then the White Sox traded Sosa across town for George Bell. Perez leading off for the Philadelphia Phillies here in the 9th. And the first pitch from Timlin is a called strike. Tomas 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Renteria charging. Throws it out. The Cardinals bullpen has retired 10 of 11 hitters.
Cardinals bullpen, you know, at one time this year causing them a little bit of a problem, but you know, they have acquired Timlin, they got Morris back, and they got Morris healthy, and they acquired the left-hander that they needed so badly in Jason Christensen. Their bullpen all of a sudden is a lot better.
Rob Ducey pinch hitting for the pitcher Jason Boyd. Ducey has 1 career hit off Timlin. It was a home run. Takes a called strike, 0-1. Ducey as a pinch hitter, 9 for 48, batting only .191 for the season. We told you Ducey was a Blue Jay for 12 days, and then he was reacquired by the Phillies. The last major leaguer to play for the same team twice in one season while going to another major league club in between. Greg McMichael 2 years ago with the Mets. Started with the Mets, was traded to the Dodgers, and then reacquired by New York in the same season.
Yeah, it sounds like that Ducey and Jason Boyd have something in common. You know, Boyd goes to Milwaukee on waivers, stays for 2 days. Ducey goes to Toronto for 12 days. Major League Baseball.
Let's see, you pitched for 10 teams. What was the shortest amount of time? Was it the Yankees?
Yeah, thank God. 40 days of torture.
And you pitched in how many games?
1. It was raining like heck. They don't want to put anybody out there that they wanted. They wanted to put somebody out there and get hurt. It was me.
1 game in 40 days.
Yeah. It was strange.
Ducey into shallow right. No chance for Davis. It's a pinch single. Who was the manager? Billy Martin?
First time Billy was ever the manager of the Yankees. It was the first time he'd ever come back, and he had how many stints with the Yankees? And it was nothing personal with the Yankees. I didn't like living in New York. I didn't like not playing.
He got paid well for a guy who only pitched in 1 game.
Overpaid. And as George Steinbrenner said, they were all overpaid.
Did he say that to you?
No, he sent me a telegram when he traded me, and ironically, you know, wished me the best of luck, but I had never laid eyes on him, I think, in spring training, and he never said hi to me prior to that. I was not a high priority player for him at the time. And he traded me to Chicago, and I started pitching. I pitched every 5 days, and you know, it was a much better time.
Doug Glanville 0 for 4 in tonight's game. 2-0. The start of tonight's game was delayed an hour 21 minutes by rain. Rain was coming down pretty hard right around 8 o'clock. They had taken the tarp off once, rolled it back on. But we have not had any rain now for a couple of hours.
And it's funny that the weatherman had said that there were just storms coming in and coming in. And Mike Shannon, who does the games for the Cardinals here and has been a radio voice of St. Louis for so many years, said they're expecting like an inch or 2 in the next 24 hours. But once it stopped, you know, it's been a delightful night.
Meteorologist Mike Shannon. Glanville, the deep left field. Dunston watches it leave the ballpark. Home run number 8 off the bat of Doug Glanville, who had not hit the ball out of the infield in his previous 4 at-bats. So the Renteria home run proves huge as Glanville cuts the Cardinals lead to 6-3.
And I think if the home run by Renteria was not hit, I think you would have seen Tony La Russa alter his pitching. You know, he's got a little room to maneuver here. He wants to get some guys some work. That ball right down the middle, about bell tie, and he takes it for a ride. Home run number 8. Starting to do here as they do in Chicago, throw the ball back. Yeah, I don't want that ball.
That was a pretty good throw.
Yeah, a good arm right there.
Nearly reached the infield. Ball 1 to Bobby Abreu. Abreu 2 for 4, 2 singles, 2 strikeouts. He's been caught looking twice. That was the first home run allowed by Timlin as a Cardinal in 9 2/3. Glanville's 8th of the season, extending his hitting streak to 7 games. Phillies second from the bottom in home runs in the National League. Cardinals second from the top. Abreu into center. The catch is made by J.D. Drew. And the Cardinals now 1 out away from their 4th consecutive victory.
Now Cincinnati had started to put together a little bit of a streak. I think they got the lead down to about 4 games at one time, and right now it's 7. It's 1 out away from being 7.5, and as the season drags on and we get closer to September, that 7.5 game lead looks awfully nice.
Scott Rowland, ball 1. Phillies will drop to 6-17 since the trade with the Diamondbacks. Since the Schilling trade, only 6 wins in 23 games. Strike called, 1-1. Mike Timlin looking to close things out for the St. Louis Cardinals. One and two. Fans on their feet here at Busch. Two balls, 2 strikes. Three runs, 7 hits for the Phillies. 6 runs on 9 hits for the Cardinals. Rolling. Fly ball, center field. J.D. Drew. It's over. Cardinals win their 4th straight. Phillies lose their season-high 6th in a row. And St. Louis keeps pace with Cincinnati, who won this afternoon. The Cardinals' lead in the National League Central remains 7.5 games. Cardinals win for the 68th time this year. 6-3, Cardinals win it. Dunston 2-run double, Renteria 3-run homer.
I think the key in the ball game, obviously the pitching, but the key for Philadelphia, they did not get a chance to drive in runs early in the ball game. They left 9 runners on base. A lot of those early in the game when a big hit could have been a big difference.
Henkin the winner, 12-9. Dahl the loser, 3-14. Next week on FX Baseball Saturday night, it will be the Mets and the Diamondbacks from Shea at 7 Eastern. Coming up next on the East Coast, Macho Movie, Lethal Tender, out west Beverly Hills, 90210. For Ken Brett and our entire FX crew, so long from St. Louis, this is Kenny Albert. Cardinals over the Phillies for the 2nd straight night, 6-3.